In the last video, we talked about how easy it is to push the feeling of waiting to be successful to some point in the future. And we tell ourselves that we will feel fantastic and successful later when that big goal has been reached. Today, I'd like to stay with that idea, but look at it from a practical side, from a practical angle. And that is not to add pressure, to give you more to do, just to offer you a few different ways of noticing success, and some that are probably already present with you, even if you haven't been naming it that way. Hello, I am Kathy, and I am so glad that you are here. Welcome to my channel, a space to explore mindset, momentum, and redefining success on your own terms. One of the things that helped me shift my relationship with success was realizing that I had been looking at it through a very narrow lens, mostly outcomes, mostly results. And when I widened that lens, I started to see success showing up in places I'd been overlooking. So let's dive in. One way of looking at success is through progress. Not how far you still want to go, but how far you have already come. In the last video, I spoke about the early journey in my self-publishing career and how much there was to learn. To move out of the learning loop and into the learning by doing loop, I had to keep my focus small. Often that looked like 15 minutes of the doing work, looking into niches, exploring keywords, drafting a rough book outline, contacting a designer. There were times, of course, when I sat at my desk for hours, but there were also the times when I literally just sat there for 15 minutes and then left the room. And I love that there is no guilt in that. I showed up. And what I started to notice was that the more often I showed up to a task, the more familiar it felt. The resistance eased and the task became quicker, to the point where now what tasks once felt daunting has now become normalized. When we only measure success by arriving at the finish line, it's easy to miss how much has already shifted. Another lens to look through is one of values. This is about the choices you make when no one is watching and where the outcomes are not guaranteed. I came across a really good niche in self-publishing that had all the markers of being a profitable niche to get into. At first, I was super excited, and then I took a moment to consider creating a book in this niche and my values, my ethics specifically. Publishing a book on that topic would have been way out of alignment with me, and I was not prepared to sit with that. So the choice then was easy. I decided not to go ahead with it. And for me, that choice is a demonstration of my success. Those kind of moments don't always come with applause or acknowledgement. However, they do shape the kind of work and the kind of life that you are building. Another way of seeing success is through growth. Not what you've achieved, but who you are becoming in the process. There was a time when choosing a book cover designer took a really long time. I had so many concerns that made this process a very slow one. Over time, this has become faster and more easeful, in part because of the learning and the experience, but also due to the intentional decision to treat this like the professional engagement that it is. Growth can be quiet because it happens gradually, and we can forget to count it. And then there is impact. The ways your presence or your work or your willingness to show up makes a difference beyond you. There is something really special about receiving positive feedback or any kind of feedback on the work that you produce. Last year, I facilitated a program to several of my self-publishing colleagues, and part of that included supporting them to identify their own success measures. It was pure joy to see their relationship shift, to hear them start to notice success as it was happening and to trust themselves more. Impact doesn't always show up as a number, but it is still real As you're listening, you might notice one of these lenses landing more than another. Not as something to work on, but to consider or get curious about. Maybe you already have your own version of what is success, what it looks like for you. Maybe you'd like to add one more. Maybe. When success is acknowledged to exist in the present, something really interesting happens. The energy brought to your work, to your goal, shifts. Not because you're pushing harder, but because you're no longer moving from a place of feeling behind. It becomes easier to keep going, especially over the long stretch. So this isn't about lowering your standards or your goals or pretending that everything is perfect. It's about letting the journey count while you are still on it. Sometimes, most times, the things that keep you moving forward is not the pressure, and it is not more pressure. It is recognizing that you are already further along than you think. If you would like to share, I would love to know how you recognize your success on the journey. Until next time, here is to building success that feels good on the inside.